Taiwan stood at the great window of the observatory tower. His old eyes watched the dark sky. Where once thousands of stars had shined, now only a few hundred remained. He placed his six-fingered hand on the cold glass and sighed. "Another one gone," he said. Behind him, the round room filled with soft blue light as screens came to life. 20 of the Alliance's top scientists looked at the data. The star Nebulon 5 had just winked out of existence. It was the third star to die this month. Jai-Ho, Taiwan's best student, rushed to his side. "Chief astronomer, the readings match the pattern. It's the silence again." The silence. That was the name they had given to the thing that ate stars. No one had seen it. No probes sent to dying stars ever returned. All they knew was that something was moving through their galaxy, taking the light. "Show me the path," Taiwan said. Jai-Ho tapped on his screen. A map appeared on the main display. Red dots marked where stars had died. The line of dots now pointed straight toward the center of Alliance space. "At this rate, we have 8 months before it reaches the Council worlds," Jai-Ho said. His voice was steady, but his eyes showed fear. The other scientists began to talk all at once. Their voices grew louder with panic. "Quiet." Taiwan's voice cut through the noise. "We are the Science Council of the Andromeda Alliance. We do not panic." The room fell silent. Taiwan walked to the center. His long blue robe swept the floor. "What do our defenses tell us?" he asked. A female scientist named Su Min stepped forward. "The energy shield around Nebulon 5 failed in seconds. Our strongest weapons did nothing. The silence simply ate them too." Taiwan nodded slowly. The Alliance had lived in peace for 10,000 years. Their weapons were few and weak. They had not needed strong ones until now. "We have tried everything," said another scientist. "Nothing works against this thing." "Not everything," Jai-Ho said softly. All eyes turned to him. "There is one thing we haven't tried," Jai-Ho continued. "One weapon we haven't used." Taiwan's eyes narrowed. "What weapon?" Jai-Ho looked nervous but determined. "Not what, but who. I've been studying the old records. From before the Great Peace, there was a species, a dangerous one. So dangerous we locked them away in their own star system and never went back." The room grew very quiet. "You mean?" Su Min whispered. "Humans," Jai-Ho said, "from planet Earth." Gasps filled the room. Everyone knew the stories. Humans were violent, unpredictable. They fought wars among themselves for thousands of years. They killed for resources, for land, sometimes just for ideas. When the Alliance first found them, humans had nearly destroyed their own planet several times. "That's why we sealed them away," an older scientist said. "They were too dangerous to join the Alliance." "Yes," Jai-Ho agreed, "but now we need something dangerous." Taiwan stared at the map. Another red dot appeared as they watched. Another star gone. "The records say humans think differently," Jai-Ho continued. "Where we see patterns, they see chaos. Where we seek peace, they prepare for war. The silence follows patterns. Perhaps what we need is chaos." Taiwan was silent for a long time. Then he turned to face the Science Council. "Find the location of Earth," he ordered. "We need to know if the humans are still there, and what they have become." Jai-Ho nodded and began to work at his screen. Su Min joined him. As the scientists rushed to their tasks, Taiwan turned back to the window. Out there in the darkness, stars were dying. And soon, something much worse than humans might be coming for them all. "Let us hope," he whispered to the fading stars, "that the cure is not worse than the disease." "This is against the rules," Su Min whispered as she followed Jai-Ho down the dark stairs. The steps were made of old stone, worn smooth by thousands of years of use. "Do you have a better idea?" Jai-Ho asked. He held up a small light that cast blue shadows on the walls. They had left the Science Council 2 hours ago. Now they were deep below the capital city, in places few people ever went. "The Council will need proof," Jai-Ho said. We need to know more about these humans before we suggest breaking their seal. The stairs ended at a large metal door. It looked ancient. Strange symbols covered its surface. Jai-Ho placed his hand on a small panel. The door scanned his palm. Access denied, said a flat voice. This archive is restricted. Jai-Ho smiled and pulled out a small device. Good thing Chief Astronomer Taiwan trusts me with his backup codes. The device lit up and sent a signal to the door. After a moment, there was a heavy click. Access granted, said the voice. Welcome, Chief Astronomer. The massive door swung open slowly. Cold air rushed out. We shouldn't be here, Su-min said again, but she followed Jai-Ho inside. The room was huge. Tall shelves filled with old books and data crystals stretched as far as they could see. This was the true history of the Alliance, the parts they didn't teach in schools. The human section should be over here, Jai-Ho said. He walked quickly between the shelves. They found it in the back corner, a small section with a red warning sign. Species quarantine. Authorized access only. Jai-Ho took down a large book. Its pages were yellow with age. Look at this, he said. The pages showed images of humans. They looked almost like Alliance people, but with fewer fingers and no blue skin. The text described their history. Their entire history is full of war, Su-min said as she read. They fought over everything. Land, resources, religion, even just different ideas about how to live. Jai-Ho nodded. But also look at this. When they were in danger, they became incredibly creative. They solved problems in ways our people never would. He turned more pages. And this is why they were sealed away. The book showed weapons, terrible weapons that could destroy entire cities, bombs that poisoned the land for hundreds of years, devices that could kill millions in seconds. They call this their nuclear age, Jai-Ho said. They nearly destroyed themselves with these weapons. That's when the Alliance found them and decided they were too dangerous. And you want to let them out? Su-min asked, her voice shaking. I want to use what makes them dangerous, Jai-Ho replied. The silence is unlike anything we faced. Maybe we need something else that's unlike anything we faced. Su-min picked up another book. According to this, Earth was sealed 5,000 years ago. The humans couldn't even travel to their own moon back then. What if they've died out? Or what if they've grown even more dangerous? Jai-Ho wondered. Their conversation was interrupted by a soft beeping. Jai-Ho checked his communicator. It's an emergency message from Taiwan, he said. His face grew pale as he read it. 3 more star systems have gone dark. The silence is moving faster. The Alliance Council has called an emergency meeting. What do we do? Su-min asked. Jai-Ho closed the book and put it in his bag. We tell them about the humans. We have no choice now. They hurried back through the archives. As the heavy door closed behind them, Su-min looked at Jai-Ho. If we unleash these humans, and they're still as violent as these records show, what happens after they deal with the silence? Will we have traded one monster for another? Jai-Ho had no answer. They climbed the stairs in silence, the weight of their decision heavy on their shoulders. The great hall of the Alliance Council was filled with voices. Leaders from 50 worlds argued as the large screen showed more red dots, more dead stars. Taiwan stood at the center, trying to be heard. Beside him, Jai-Ho and Su-min waited nervously. Please, Taiwan called. We must stay calm and listen. Slowly, the room grew quiet. All eyes turned to the old scientist. Our defenses have failed, Taiwan said. The silence continues to eat our stars. At this speed, it will reach our core worlds in less than 6 months. What does the Science Council suggest? Asked a tall leader with gray skin. Taiwan took a deep breath. We have found only one possible solution. It is not one I suggest lightly. He nodded to Jai-Ho, who stepped forward. We must break the seal on Earth, Jai-Ho said. We must ask the humans for help. The room exploded with shouts. Most were angry. Some were afraid. The humans are monsters. They would destroy us. Have you lost your mind? The shouting continued until a quiet voice cut through the noise. Let them speak. It was Du Hyun, the oldest member of the council. His word was respected by all. Jai-ho nodded his thanks. The humans were sealed away because they were violent and unpredictable. But those same qualities might help us now. They think differently than we do. They understand war in ways we have forgotten. And if they turn on us? Someone asked. The humans are just one small world, Su Min said. We are 50 worlds with far more advanced technology. We can handle them if needed. The debate lasted hours. In the end, fear of the silence was greater than fear of humans. The vote was close, but the council agreed. 3 days later, a ship left Alliance space. Ambassador Du Hyun led the mission, with Jai-ho and Su Min as advisors. Their destination, the sealed system that contained Earth. What will they be like after 5,000 years? Su Min wondered as their ship traveled. We're about to find out, Jai-ho said. The journey took 2 weeks. When they arrived at the edge of Earth's system, they were shocked. The seal, a special field that blocked all signals and ships, was still in place. But beyond it, they detected thousands of artificial objects. They've spread throughout their system, Jai-ho said in amazement. Stations, satellites, small colonies. They've advanced far beyond what we expected. The Alliance ship sent the old code to open a small hole in the seal. Then they broadcast a message in all Earth languages from 5,000 years ago. They waited. Hours later, a reply came. It was in a new language, but their computers could translate it. This is United Earth Governance. Identify yourselves. Do Hyun sent their greeting and explained who they were. The humans responded with surprise. They had myths about alien visitors long ago, but many had stopped believing them. After many messages back and forth, the humans agreed to a meeting. The Alliance ship was allowed through the seal. What they found amazed them. Earth was green and blue, covered with cities that sparkled like stars. Space stations orbited the planet. Ships moved between Earth and its moon, where a large colony had been built. They've accomplished so much while sealed away, Su Min whispered. A human ship approached them. It was smaller than their Alliance vessel, but looked fast and strong. Du Hyun's hands shook slightly as the communication screen lit up. A human appeared. He had short black hair and wore a dark uniform with many small symbols on it. I am Captain Hejun of the Earth Defense Force, the human said. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes were sharp and alert. Welcome to Earth. Now tell us why you're here after leaving us alone for 5,000 years. Do Hyun bowed slightly. We need your help. Something is eating the stars, and we cannot stop it. Captain Hejun's face changed. A small smile appeared, showing teeth. Tell me more, he said. The Alliance ship's main room was now filled with humans and Alliance members. After 3 days of talks, an agreement had been reached. The humans would help fight the silence, and in return, Earth would join the Alliance as a full member. Jai-ho watched the humans with fascination. They looked so much like his own people, but moved differently, quicker, more directly. They did not wait for others to finish speaking. They interrupted. They laughed loudly. They took up space. Captain Hejun stood at the front of the room. He pointed at the map of the galaxy where red dots showed the dead stars. Your silence follows a pattern, he said. It moves from one star to the next closest star. It's efficient but predictable. We can use that. An Alliance scientist raised her hand. We've tried weapons. Nothing works. The silence just absorbs energy. Hejun nodded. That's why we need to think differently. This isn't just about stronger weapons. It's about strategy. A human woman stepped forward. She was short but stood tall, her eyes bright with energy. I'm Yoon-ji, weapons specialist, she said. We've studied your data on the silence. It absorbs energy, yes. But what about matter? What about gravity? What about time itself? The Alliance scientists looked confused. Tai-1 spoke carefully. We don't have weapons that affect those things. Yunji smiled. We do. The room grew quiet. The Alliance members looked at each other with worry. What kind of weapons? Asked Sumin. We call them quantum instability bombs. Yunji said. They don't just release energy. They tear the fabric of space itself. If the silence feeds on energy, let's give it indigestion. That sounds dangerous, Du-hyun said. It is. He-jun agreed. But so is watching all the stars die. The meeting continued. The humans asked for access to Alliance ships, materials, and data. They wanted to study how the silence worked. They wanted to set traps. You talk as if you've fought wars like this before, Jae-ho said to He-jun after the main meeting ended. We haven't fought aliens that eat stars, He-jun replied. But humans have always fought. Against nature, against each other, against limits. It's what we do. Jae-ho thought about this. The Alliance hasn't had a war in 10,000 years. We've forgotten how to fight. We remember, He-jun said simply. Later that day, another human joined the group. She was tall with long hair tied back neatly. This is Seo, He-jun said. She's our cultural attaché. She'll help bridge the gap between our ways. Seo bowed to the Alliance members. Her smile was warm, unlike He-jun's sharp grin or Yoonji's excited energy. I understand there may be concerns about working with us, she said. I'm here to help ease those worries. Over the next few days, the humans moved quickly. They set up labs on the Alliance ship. They studied the data about the silence. They argued loudly with each other and worked through the night without rest. They're so intense, Sumin said to Jae-ho as they watched Yoonji test a small device. It's like they enjoy this crisis. Not the crisis, Seo said, joining them. The challenge. Humans need problems to solve. It's how we grow. And if you can't solve this problem? Jae-ho asked. Seo's smile faded. That's not an option we consider. He-jun has never failed a mission. None of us were chosen by chance. As if summoned by his name, He-jun appeared at the door. We're ready, he said. We've found the silence's next target. It's time to meet our enemy. The Alliance fleet hung at the edge of the Talon system. 5 large ships waited silently. In the center of the system, the star Talon still burned bright and yellow. According to all their calculations, it would be the next target of the silence. On the command ship, He-jun stood with the Alliance officers. His face was calm, but his eyes moved constantly, taking in everything. The star looks normal, said an Alliance commander. Our sensors detect nothing unusual yet. It will come, He-jun said. The pattern is clear. Jae-ho and Sumin worked at their stations, monitoring space around the star. Tai-1 had stayed behind, too old for such a dangerous mission. Du-hyun represented the Alliance Council on this mission. What's the plan when it arrives? Du-hyun asked. He-jun pointed to a small screen showing a human ship. It was much smaller than the Alliance vessels, but shaped like a pointed weapon. My ship will go in first, He-jun said. We'll test its reactions with some small weapons. The Alliance fleet stays back to observe and record everything. That's too dangerous, Jae-ho said. Your ship is too small. Small means fast, He-jun replied. And if we fail, you'll learn from our mistakes. Before anyone could argue more, alarms began to sound. Something's happening to the star, Sumin called. On the main screen, they all watched as a dark spot appeared on the surface of Talon. It grew quickly, like a hungry mouth eating the bright surface. It's here, He-jun said. His voice was different now, sharper, eager. He pressed his communicator. Yoonji, is your team ready? Ready and excited, came her voice. Weapons hot. He-jun turned to Du-hyun. We're moving in now. Be careful, the old ambassador said. Hajum's smile flashed. That's not how you win a fight. He turned and left the bridge quickly. On the screen, they watched as the small human ship shot toward the dying star. The dark spot had grown to cover half the star's surface. What are they doing? Su-min asked. They're going too close. They're doing what we could not, Jae-ho said quietly. They're fighting. The human ship began to fire at the dark spot. Bright beams of energy struck the blackness. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then part of the darkness separated from the star. Look, Jae-ho pointed. Part of the silence has broken free. The separated darkness formed a shape. It was like a cloud but thicker, with long arms that reached out toward the human ship. It's responding to the attack, Do-hyun said in wonder. It's showing itself. The human ship dodged as the dark arms tried to grab it. It fired again. Different weapons this time. Small bright objects flew into the darkness and exploded. The silence seemed to shudder. One of its arms came apart into smaller pieces. They heard it, Su-min whispered. They actually heard it. The battle continued. The human ship moved with amazing speed, firing and dodging. The silence grew larger, pulling more of itself away from the star to fight. Suddenly, a bright flash lit up space. The human ship had fired something new, a small black device that created a tear in space itself. The tear pulled at the silence, tearing off pieces of its darkness. For the first time ever, the Alliance members saw the silence retreat. It pulled back to the star, its damaged parts floating away like ash. The communication system crackled. Hajum's voice came through, breathless but triumphant. First test complete, he said. We've confirmed it. It can be heard. The Alliance bridge erupted in cheers. Jae-ho looked at the screen where the star Talon still burned, damaged but alive. For the first time since the stars began to die, he felt hope. But as Hajum's ship returned, Jae-ho saw the look in the human captain's eyes. It wasn't relief. It was hunger. News of the human victory spread quickly through Alliance space. For the first time in months, people felt hope. But in the council chambers, the mood was mixed. Captain Hajum broke protocol, said one council member. He went too close to the silence without permission. But he succeeded, argued another. The star Talon still shines. Lives were saved. Do-hyun stood before the council, tired after the long journey back. The humans do not follow rules the way we do. They see rules as suggestions. Taduwan spoke up. What matters is results. The humans hurt the silence. That's what we needed. In a lab below the council chambers, Yoonji worked with her team. They studied the data from the battle. Screens showed images of the silence, its dark shape frozen in different moments. Hajum entered the lab. What have you found? Yoonji pointed to a screen. The silence is not one thing. It's many small things working together, like a swarm of tiny creatures. Can we kill them all? Hajun asked. Not one by one, Yoonji said. But we found something interesting. When we used the quantum bomb, it didn't just hurt the silence. It confused it. The pieces couldn't talk to each other. Hajun nodded. So we need bigger quantum bombs. Much bigger, Yoonji agreed. But there's a problem. The Alliance has laws against weapons that affect space itself. They won't let us build what we need. Hajum's face grew hard. We'll see about that. Meanwhile, Jae-ho and Su-min worked in the Alliance Science Center. They studied new data from across the galaxy. Something has changed, Jae-ho said, pointing to the map. Look at the pattern of star deaths. Su-min looked closely. It's different. Before, the silence moved in a straight line. Now it's jumping, skipping stars. It's heading directly for Alliance core worlds, Jae-ho said, his voice grim. It's no longer following the shortest path. It's targeting us. But how could it know? Su-min asked. How could it understand we attacked it? Maybe it's smarter than we thought. Jaiho said. Later that day, the council met again. Hajun stood before them with Yunji. They presented their plan to build large quantum instability bombs. These weapons break the basic laws of the Alliance, said a council member. They could damage space itself, not just the silence. If the silence eats all our stars, what good are our laws? Hajun asked. His voice was calm, but his eyes were intense. Do-hyun, sitting in his council seat, felt torn. The humans were right that they needed stronger weapons, but their eagerness for such power worried him. Eun-seo stepped forward. She had been quiet until now. Respected council, she said softly. I understand your concerns. In human history, we too feared weapons that could destroy too much, but we learned that sometimes the existence of such weapons prevents their use. We don't want to destroy space. We want to save your stars. And ours. Her gentle words seemed to calm the council. They talked more, argued more, but in the end, they agreed. The humans would be allowed to build their weapons, but under Alliance supervision. As the meeting ended, Jaiho approached Hajun. I need to show you something. He led Hajun to the Science Center and showed him the new pattern of star deaths. It's coming for us now, Jaiho said. It knows we can hurt it. Hajun studied the map. His face showed no fear, only focus. Good, he said. Now we have its attention. You wanted this? Jaiho asked, shocked. Better to face it on our terms than wait for it to come when we're not ready, Hajun said. Now it's a real fight. Jaiho felt a chill. The humans were not just helping. They were leading them into war. 3 more weeks passed. 4 more stars died. But now, Alliance ships were there each time, watching, learning, sometimes fighting. The silence grew stronger too. It seemed to learn from each battle. In the main war room, Hajun stood before a large map of Alliance space. Around him were Alliance commanders and human officers. His plan was bold, and many Alliance leaders looked uncomfortable as he spoke. We can't just defend, Hajun said. We must attack. The silence is smart. It adapts. We need to surprise it. How do you surprise something that eats stars? Asked an Alliance commander. Hajun pointed to 3 small star systems on the edge of Alliance space. We set a trap. We make these systems look undefended. When the silence comes, we hit it with everything we have. Those systems have people on them, Do-hyun said. Millions of people. We'll evacuate them first, Hajun said. There's not enough time, Soo-min argued. It would take months to move so many people. Hajun's face didn't change. Then we move who we can. The room grew silent. The Alliance members stared at Hajun in shock. You're suggesting we sacrifice people? Jaiho asked, his voice barely a whisper. I'm suggesting we save the majority. Hajun replied. If we don't stop the silence, everyone dies. All stars, all worlds, all people. Sometimes in war, sacrifices must be made. This is not how the Alliance works, Do-hyun said firmly. That's why you were losing, Yoonji said from the corner of the room. War isn't fair. War isn't nice. War is winning by any means necessary. Eun-seo stepped forward. What my colleagues mean is that difficult choices are sometimes needed in extreme situations, but we should look for other options first. While the argument continued, Jaiho slipped away. He had been searching through old records ever since the humans arrived. Something about them bothered him, a feeling that there was more to the story of why humans were sealed away. In the quiet archive room, Jaiho found what he was looking for, a very old record, almost forgotten. It told a different story about the humans. They weren't just sealed away because they were violent, he read. They were sealed away because they had encountered the silence before. The ancient record told how, long ago, the silence had entered human space. Instead of running or dying, the humans had fought back with terrible weapons. They had driven the silence away, but at great cost. Many of their stars had died. Their worlds had been damaged. The early alliance had found the humans afterward, a species that had survived meeting the silence but had become more violent because of it. Fearing what they might do with alliance technology, the council of that time had decided to seal Earth away. They'd fought this enemy before, Jaiho whispered. That's why Hejun wasn't surprised by it. That's why they knew how to hurt it. Jaiho rushed back to the war room. The argument was still going on. Listen, Jiho called out. All eyes turned to him. The humans have faced the silence before, thousands of years ago, before we sealed them away. Hejun's face showed no surprise, but Eumseo looked uncomfortable. Is this true? Duhyun asked. Hejun nodded slowly. We have old stories. Legends about the dark that ate the light. We didn't know if they were true until we saw your data. Why didn't you tell us? Sumin demanded. Would you have trusted us if we said we knew your enemy? Hejun asked. Or would you have suspected us of causing it? Dohyun looked at the human captain with new eyes. What really happened in your first battle with the silence? We nearly died as a species, Hejun said. His voice was cold. We won't let that happen again. Not to us, and not to you. So, do we fight my way, or do we all die together? 1 month later, the war had changed. The alliance now followed Hejun's plan. Some worlds were partly emptied of people. Ships moved refugees across safe paths, while others prepared for the final battle. Dohyun stood in the observation room of the Alliance capital ship. Before him, the great homeworld of the Alliance glowed blue and green. If they failed, this world would die next. Are we ready? He asked. Jaiho nodded. 3 star systems are set as bait, just as Hejun planned. The evacuation saved 60% of the people. The rest. His voice trailed off. The rest knew the risk, Hejun said, entering the room. They chose to stay and help set the trap. Sumin looked at the human captain. How can you be so calm about this? Millions might die. Billions will live, Hejun replied. And if we fail, everyone dies. The silence doesn't show mercy. It doesn't take prisoners. It consumes everything. Yoonji joined them, carrying a small black box. The final weapon is ready. 1 quantum collapse bomb, big enough to tear a hole between dimensions. Where will it send the silence? Jaiho asked. Not where, Yoonji said. Nowhere. The bomb won't move the silence. It will break it apart across 1,000,000 pocket dimensions. It will scatter the silence so far that it can never come together again. But someone must deliver it, Hejun said. The bomb must be placed in the heart of the silence. Everyone fell silent. They all understood what that meant. Whoever took the bomb would not return. I will go, Hejun said simply. Eumseo, who had been quiet until now, stepped forward. The silence is approaching the first trap system. It's time. They all moved to the command center. The large screen showed 3 star systems in a triangle. Near one, a dark spot had appeared. It took the bait, Hejun said. Begin the operation. Alliance ships moved into position. The trap was complex. The 3 star systems had been prepared with special devices. When triggered, they would create a quantum disturbance, a noise that would attract the silence. First system, activate, Hejun ordered. On the screen, a bright flash appeared. The star pulsed with strange energy. The dark spot of the silence turned toward it immediately. It's working, Jaiho said. It's moving toward the disturbance. Second system, activate, Hejun said. Another flash, another pulse. Now the silence seemed confused. It split into 2 parts, one moving toward each active system. It's spreading itself thin, Yoonji said, her eyes bright with excitement. Just as we planned. Third system, activate, Hejun ordered. The 3rd star flashed. Now the silence split into 3 parts, drawn by the energy of the disturbed stars. All ships, attack, Hejun commanded. The Alliance fleet moved in. Hundreds of ships fired at the stretched silence. It fought back, dark tentacles grabbing ships and crushing them. But it was divided, weakened. "Now," Hejun said. He turned to Do-hyun and held out his hand. "It has been an honor." Do-hyun took the human's hand. "The honor was ours." Hejun nodded to Yoonji, who handed him the black box. Then he walked quickly to the hangar bay where a small, fast ship waited. Jai-ho followed. "There must be another way." "There isn't," Hejun said. "The bomb must be placed in the center where all three parts of the silence connect. No remote control is fast enough. No automatic ship smart enough." "Why you?" Jai-ho asked. Hejun paused at the door of his ship. For the first time, his face softened slightly. "Because this is what humans do," he said. "We fight. We sacrifice. We protect our own. And now, that includes you." The small ship launched. On the screen, they watched as Hejun flew directly into the heart of the battle, toward the center where the three parts of the silence connected. "All ships, pull back," Yoonji ordered. "Minimum safe distance." Hejun's ship disappeared into the darkness. They waited. Then, a light like no one had ever seen before. One full cycle later, the great hall of the Alliance Council was filled with light. Sunlight streamed through the tall windows. Outside, the sky was blue and clear. Stars would be visible when night came. Stars that still lived because of one human sacrifice. Jai-ho stood at the speaker's platform. His clothes were formal, deep blue with silver trim. Before him sat hundreds of Alliance members. Among them were humans in their dark uniforms, so different yet now so familiar. "Today we remember," Jai-ho began, "the day the silence ended. The day Captain Hejun gave his life, so that stars could continue to shine." The hall was quiet. Everyone remembered the explosion, a light so bright it had blinded sensors. When they could see again, the silence was gone, broken into countless tiny pieces that floated harmlessly in space, unable to join together, unable to feed. "We lost many brave people," Jai-ho continued, "from all worlds, including Earth, but because of their sacrifice, billions now live in safety." In the front row, Yeon-seo sat straight and proud. After Hejun's death, she had become the leader of the human delegation. Next to her sat Yoonji, who had lost her right arm in the final battle, but had refused to look sad about it. "A small price," she had said. "The alliance has changed," Jai-ho said. "We remember how to defend ourselves now. We remember that peace sometimes comes at a cost." He looked at the humans. They had been given a new home in Alliance space, a group of planets near the capital. Some Alliance members had been worried about having humans so close, but most had voted for it. The humans had earned their place. After the ceremony, Jai-ho found Ta-won in a quiet corner. The old scientist looked tired but happy. "You did well," Ta-won said. "Hejun would have approved of your speech." "He would have thought it was too long," Jai-ho smiled. He liked action more than words. They walked together to the balcony. The city spread out below them, its towers gleaming in the evening light. In the distance, they could see the new human quarter where buildings were already going up in the Earth style. "Are we making a mistake?" Jai-ho asked quietly. "The humans saved us, yes. But their way of thinking, war, sacrifice, violence, it goes against everything the Alliance stands for." Ta-won was silent for a moment. Perhaps the Alliance needed to change. The universe is not always kind. Sometimes we need those who understand darkness to help us keep the light. Soo-min joined them, carrying drinks. "The new Alliance fleet launches next week," she said. "Did you hear who they named the first ship after?" "Hejun," Jai-ho guessed. Soo-min nodded. "The humans are pleased." "And the new Defense Council?" Ta-won asked. "Yoonji will represent Earth," Soo-min said. "Some council members are nervous about that." They all smiled, thinking of the intense weapons specialist. As night fell, the first stars became visible. Jeho looked up at them, thinking of all that had happened. "Look there," Taiwan said, pointing to a distant part of the sky. "The remnants of the silence are forming new stars. From death comes life." It was true. Where the silence had been broken apart, new stars were forming from its scattered pieces, hundreds of them, small but growing. Later that night, Jeho visited the memorial garden. A simple stone stood in the center with Hejun's name and those of all who had died in the final battle. "You would laugh at all our ceremonies," Jeho said to the stone, "but you would be proud of what has come after." The Alliance had learned from humans how to fight, but perhaps, Jeho thought, the humans were learning from the Alliance too, how to build, how to grow, how to live in peace. He looked up at the stars once more. They remained, and would continue to remain. That was enough.